Hi, welcome back friend. Here in this lesson you're going to learn about using tone curve in Lightroom. In the Lightroom we got various properties. In the basic panel we got some of the basic properties like exposure and contrast. These are the two things that are widely used in all the image edits. So you can change the value of contrast and exposure to make your image have a particular feel. You can increase the contrast to make some of the components of your image clearly distinguishable, or you can reduce the contrast to make it look dull. Then you got the tone curve. Tone curve is a different thing. Most of the people don't use it, generally beginners, but tone curve is very useful for professionals because it allows you to have some gradual effect like a change in highlights, lights, dark and shadow. You can change the points like moving, but you will have the exposure and the contrast value intact. Say if you want to change the contrast beyond certain limit just using this slider, you can't do so. Okay, but when you do with a tone curve you got some extra advantage, because with a tone curve you can also change the exposure and contrast. Okay, with tone curves be careful because it requires a little bit experience. Don't try to create some sinusoidal curve or a different kind of curve that's not smooth across. Okay, try to create a smooth curve like C, humpback, S, all the reverse S. Okay, like if you increase the lower end of this curve little bit towards the upper side and decrease the upper end, it will have the similar effect with the changes in contrast. Say if you decrease the contrast, it could be created by changing this curve. You can mimic the effects with changing contrast and the exposure. Alternatively, if you feel the curve to be not handy, you can use the slider just below the curves provided in the tone curve to have the similar effect. Okay, so if you increase the lights, it will have the vibrant section, the white section of the screen more visible. You can change the highlights, you can change the exposure, and it will be reflected back in the graph. Always remember, never go for the extreme values until you require it. Okay, 90% of the images can be edited perfectly well by staying within the limits. Okay, don't go for the extreme values for any of the properties until you want to clip something or go with the extreme edits. Okay, so just keep this thing in mind if you're a beginner and try to apply these things. Along with these edits, tone curve is widely used for creating preset that you will learn later, because you want to allow your users to perform various edits later on. So keep learning and keep moving ahead.